In this lecture, we will be discussing about prime and irreducible elements. So, starting with the definition, number 1, prime element. When an element is said to be a prime, suppose the element P belongs to a domain R, it is said to be a prime element if P is said to be a prime element if number 1, it is a non-zero element, non-unit element. These are the primary conditions for being a prime element. That means a non-zero and non-unit element is said to be a prime element if the number 2 conditions is if P divides AB, this will imply either P divides A or P divides B. So these are the 2 conditions for being a prime element. An element P belongs to a domain R. It is said to be a prime element if number 1, it should be non-zero and non-unit. That means a non-zero and non-unit element is said to be a prime element if P divides AB. This will imply either P divides A or P divides B. So this is the definition of a prime element. And number 2 is the definition of irreducible element. This is also almost the conditions are: let P belongs to R, an element, it is said to be an irreducible element. Irreducible means this is not reducible. That means we cannot reduce it, cannot factorize it in some specific manner. So P is said to be an irreducible element if number 1, it is also a non-zero and non-unit element, and number 2 is if P equals AB, this will imply either A is a unit or B is a unit. Unit means the element which has their multiplicative inverse. So if P equals AB, then this will imply either A is a unit or B is a unit. Then this will said to be an irreducible element. And whenever it is not irreducible, that means it is reducible. So these are the 2 definitions of 2 type of elements of a domain. Number 1 is prime element. A non-zero non-unit element is said to be prime element if P divides AB. This will imply P divides A or P divides B. And a non-zero non-unit element is said to be an irreducible element if P equals AB. This will imply either A is a unit or B is a unit. Okay, now moving to get some examples of prime and irreducible elements. Number 1, consider the integral domain Z, and considering any prime element P belongs to Z. Now let's check this is a prime element of the domain Z or not. That means this is satisfying the conditions, that is P divides AB, this will imply P divides A and P divides B or not. So whenever P is a prime element, it divides AB. So by the property of classical algebra or by the property of prime number, what we can say, either P divides A or P divides B. This is the basic prime integers property. So from there we can say P is a prime element. So whenever we get any element P, prime element belongs to the set Z, ordinary prime element, then both P and P minus P, this will also be a prime element, right? So P and minus P both would be prime element. And they are also irreducible, because whenever P is a prime element, if you want to write P like A into B, then either A will be P and B will be 1, or A will be 1 and B will be P. That means the only possible factorization of P is possible like this: P into 1 or 1 into P, right? That means one of them is always a unit. So P is also an irreducible element. So in the domain Z, the prime numbers P or minus P, these are the prime elements as well as irreducible elements. Now let us consider next example, a field. Suppose we are considering any field, capital A. What is the property of field? There every non-zero element is a unit, right? So every non-zero element is a unit. So from here what we can say, for a field, that means no irreducible element exists in the field, as well as no prime element exists in a field, because if irreducible element means what? It should be non-zero and non-unit. So already we have checked in the definition that it should be non-zero and non-unit, but in a field we know that every non-zero element is a unit. It has the property of a field. So there exists no irreducible element. That means from here we can conclude one property of or another definition of irreducible element is that whenever we can express a non-zero non-unit element P in the form AB, and P is said to be an irreducible element, P is said to be an irreducible element, then the only possible divisors of P, only possible divisors of P are the units or the associates of P. Units, comma, associates of P. This is another definition of irreducible element or another property. That means P, an element P is said to be irreducible if and only if the only positive divisors of P, only possible divisors of P are the units of that domain or the associates of P. Okay, so we will use this definition also to prove some irreducible elements. Now let's consider few more examples. Let us consider the domain Rx, that is the polynomial ring over the real number field, and considering the polynomial x square plus 1, this one. Okay, now we have to check this is the irreducible element or a reducible element. So clearly this is reducible element in Cx, right? Reducible element in Cx, because in Cx we can write it as x plus I into x minus I, but not in Rx. We cannot factorize this element over Rx, but we need to prove that. So for proving it, let's write down that it is possible by the factorization is possible here. So x square plus 1 can be written as like this, ax plus b into cx plus d. Because its order degree is 2, so we need to consider 2 1 degrees polynomials. So ax plus b into cx plus d. So what will be the right hand side? It will be acx square plus ad plus bcx plus bd. Now if you consider left and right side the coefficients, then we will get ac equals 1 equals bd and ad plus bc equals 0. That means from here what we can write, AC into BD equals 1 into 1, that is 1. That means now instead of AD what we are putting, or instead of BC we can put minus AD, or instead of AD we can put minus BC, whatever you want. So I am putting instead of BC minus AD. So 1 AD will be fixed, then minus AD equals 1. So AD its whole square equals minus 1, which is impossible in R. That means something squared is negative quantity. This is not possible in R. That means our assumption was wrong. X square plus 1 cannot be factorized over Rx. That means x square plus 1, this element is an irreducible element over Rx. Okay. Similarly, we can take another example which is quite similar with this. Consider this domain Qx, this polynomial ring, and considering this polynomial x square minus 2, we need to prove this is irreducible over Qx but reducible over Rx. But it is reducible over Rx. We can easily check that reducibility condition, because over Rx what we can write, x square minus 2 equals x plus root 2 into x minus root 2. but this is not possible over qx because root 2 is not a rational number. So this belongs to Rx. That means this element x square minus 2, this is reducible over Rx but not in Qx. So we have to prove that Qx part. So let's prove it. So for that reason we are considering this is equals Ax plus B and Cx plus D. So let's take x square minus 2 equals Ax plus B into Cx plus D. That is AC x square plus AD plus BC x plus BD. Then we will get the same thing exactly just by applying the same procedure. What will we get? We will get from there AC equals 1, AD plus BC equals 0 just by comparing the coefficients on both sides, and BD equals minus 2. So from here what we can write, AD square equals AD into AD, that means minus AD into BC. So AC into minus BD. That means ultimately it will become 1 into minus 2, that is ultimately 2. So AD square equal 2, that means AD equals plus minus root 2, which is not possible because this does not belongs to Q, but A into D both belongs to Q, which is a contradiction. So the factorization is not possible. That means the polynomial x square minus 2, it is irreducible over Qx. Okay. Next there is one theorem. In that chapter there is not more theory, like more examples are there. So we have very few theories here, among which this one theorem. First theorem is saying in an integral domain every prime element is irreducible element. In an integral domain every prime element is an irreducible element, but the converse is not true. So let's prove it, that every prime element is an irreducible element. We will consider one prime element. We need to prove that this is an irreducible element. So the proof, let P be any prime element belongs to that integral domain D. And starting with P equals AB, what we have to prove, that is A and B, either A is a unit or B is a unit, or A is a unit, B is an associate, or A is an associate or B is a unit. We just have to prove that. So let's take P equals AB. Now since P equals AB, now P divides P, that means P obviously divides AB. This will imply, as P is a prime element, this will imply either P divides A or P divides B, right? Now whenever, if you consider this case, that is P divides A, then A can be written as P into some D1 for some D1 belongs to D, this given domain, right? So putting P equals A into B. Now that means P D1 into B. Now taking common P, it will become 1 minus D1B equals 0. Now P is a prime element, that means obviously it is a non-zero element, so it is cannot be 0. That means this part should equal 0. So from there what we can write, D1B equals 1. That means from here what we can claim, B is a unit because B inverse equals D1 here, this one, that is B is a unit. So in that case we get that B is a unit whenever P can be written as AB. Similarly, if you consider the second case, that is P divides B, in that case just by approaching the same manner, what we can prove, that A is a unit. So in any case either A is a unit or B is a unit. That means P is an irreducible element, that is it cannot be reduced. So P, in any case, P is an irreducible element in D, that particular integral domain. Remember, otherwise being an integral domain, we cannot claim this theory. Okay, so the domain should be an integral domain. Then we can claim that every prime element should be irreducible element, and the converse is not true always. So for that reason, we need to find one counter example. That means there exists some integral domain in which there exists some element which is irreducible but not prime. So we are considering the integral domain Z I root 5, this one. Okay, and considering the element 6. Now 6 can be written as 2 into 3, and they can be written, 6 also can be written as 1 plus root over minus 5 into 1 minus root over minus 5. Just multiply them, you will get 6. That means, right, and 2 is an irreducible element. 2 is an irreducible element because it is a prime element. Obviously it should be an irreducible element. And 2 divides, so from here, from this line, what we can write, 2 divides 1 plus root over minus 5 into 1 minus root over minus 5, this one, right? 2 divides this because this can be written as 2 into 3. So 2 is an irreducible element, and 2 divides their product. But 2 does not divide this one, neither this one, nor this one. So from here, what we can write, 2 does not divides 1 plus root 5, I root 5, or root over minus 5, the same thing, or 2 does not divides 1 minus I root 5. That means 2 dividing their product but not individually one of them. That means 2 is not a prime element. 2 is not a prime element. So we get in the integral domain Z of Z I root 5, we get one element 2 which is irreducible element but not a prime element. That means the converse of the above theorem is not true always. Okay. Next, moving to another theory. Now when this converse part will prove, that means under which domain an irreducible and a prime element both will be same. That means prime will imply irreducibility and irreducibility will imply prime. The domain should be a principal ideal ring. So in a principal ideal ring, if P is irreducible, then it is a prime element. That means the converse of the above theorem is not true in integral domain, but it is true in principal ideal ring. Now if you can't remember, I'm recalling the concept of principal ideal ring. Principal ideal ring means a ring in which each of the ideals are principal ideal. That means each of the ideals can be generated by one single element. By a single element, if each of the ideals can be generated, then each ideals become a principal ideal, then this is said to be a principal ideal ring. So in a principal ideal ring, if P is irreducible, then it is prime. That means in a principal ideal ring, irreducibility criteria and prime criteria both are equivalent. So let's take the let's do the proof. We have to prove P is we get that P is irreducible. We need to prove P is prime. So let P divides AB, starting with this one. That means there exists some R such that R obviously belongs to the domain which is capital R, such that AB equals PR, right? Now we are considering this P comma B, the ideal generated by P comma B. Now this is an ideal of R. It should be a principal ideal. That means it should be generated by one single element. let us consider this is generated by the single element D for some D belongs to R, because each ideals are principal ideals, so each ideal should be generated by one single element. So this is also where, let us take for some D, there exists some D such that it is generated by D. That means there exists some Q belongs to R, there exists some Q belongs to R such that P equals DQ, because P belongs to that, this one, P always belongs to this ideal which is equal to this ideal. That means P can be written as some D into some element. So there exists some Q such that P equals DQ. Now since P is irreducible, we have already taken P is irreducible, and now P can be represented as like this DQ. That means either D or Q must be a unit. D or Q must be a unit, right? Now let us consider the first case. Let D is a unit. That means P comma B, this ideal which is generated by D, this should be equal to R, because we have already checked whenever in an ideal, if it contains the unity element, that means the multiplicative identity element, then this will equal to our given ring. That means this will be equals to, this generated by D will be equal to our given ring R. If D is a unit, that means 1, this unity element should belongs to this R, right? Whenever, always 1 belongs to that R. That means actually our this ideal generated by B. So from there what we can, and generated by D, this is also known as generated by P comma B. That means from there what we can write, there exists some S comma T, as 1 belongs to this quantity, so it can be written as some linear combination of some elements of P and B. That is, there exists some S comma T belongs to R such that SP plus TB equals 1. That means 1 can be represented as the linear sum of this SP plus TB. So from here what we can write, we are multiplying by A on both sides. So this become A and this will become ASP plus ATB. Now taking common, instead of that AB, what we can write? P. So it will become ASP plus TP. Sorry, AB means PR, not only P, PR. Now taking common P, so it will become AS plus TR into P. This will imply P divides A, because A can be represented as a multiple of P. So P divides A. That means we have taken the first case where D is a unit, then we get P divides A. And we have started with P divides AB. We get P divides A. That means P is a prime element, right? Similarly, if we consider the second case, here, if we consider the second case, that is Q is a unit. We considered the first case D is a unit. If we take the second condition, that is Q is a unit. Similarly, what we can prove, if Q is a unit, then what we can write? D equals some P Q inverse. Because we have checked P equals DQ, so just from there we can write D equals P Q inverse, and Q inverse obviously exists as Q is a unit. So we are writing this, that means this belongs to generated by P. That is, what we can write, generated by D, it is a subset of generated by P, and generated by P obviously it is a subset of the ideal generated by P comma B, which is again equal to the ideal generated by D. That means from here what we can say, this one and this one are same. That means this should be also same. So from here what we can write, this generated by P ideal is equal to the generated by P comma B ideal. That means P of B obviously belongs to this generated by P. So P divides B. So we get this condition. If we take Q is a unit, then we will get P divides B. That means in any case either P divides A or P divides B. So from that theorem what we can conclude, that P is a prime element. Okay, so this proves the theory. Now we are moving to solve few examples. Number 1. Example. Show that class 2 is a prime element. Class 2 is a prime element in Z10, but not irreducible. That means we need to prove Z10. In Z10, class 2 is a prime element but not an irreducible element. Now check, Z10 is not an integral domain, right? So if it becomes an integral domain, then we can easily claim there, if it is a prime element, it is always should be irreducible. But this is not going to happen here because Z10 is not an integral domain. So at first let's prove that class 2 is a prime element. So for that reason, let's check. Let class 2 divides class A into class B. These two elements over Z10. Then what we can write from there? That means class A into class B, it can be written as class 2 into some class K, for some class K belongs to Z10. That is class AB minus class 2K. This will become class 0. Now what does it mean by class 0? Class 0 means the multiple of class 10. That means we can write it as 10 class R, right, over Z10, because we are discussing over Z10. So from here what we can write, AB minus 2K equals 10R. So from there we can take AB equals 2K plus 10R. Now taking common 2, it will become K plus 5R. That means from there we can write 2 divides AB, because AB can be written as a multiple of 2. Now 2 is a prime element, ordinary prime over Z, not over Z10 or any other integral domain we are talking about. We are talking about ordinary integer set Z. There 2 is a prime element, so ordinary prime. So this will imply 2 divides A or 2 divides B, because this is the property of prime number. Whenever 2 divides AB, 2 divides A or 2 divides B. That means class 2 divides class A or class 2 divides class B. That is, we started with class 2 divides class AB and we ended at class 2 divides class A or class 2 divides class B. Okay, that means class 2 is a prime element. Now we need to prove class 2 is not an irreducible element. So for that reason, at first let us consider the units of Z10. Okay, because for proving that class 2 is not an irreducible element, at first we need to check this is an unit or not. If it is a unit, then from there we can obviously claim that it is a unit element, and an irreducible element is always a non-zero non-unit element. So it cannot be an irreducible element. So for that reason, at first consider the units of Z10. What will be the units? The units will be which are prime to 10. That means class 1, class 3, class 5, class 7, sorry, not class 5, class 1, class 3, class 7 and class 9. These are the only possible units over Z10. Now 2 is not belongs to them, class 2. That means it is a non-zero and non-unit element. Now we need to check the second condition for being irreducibility. That means, can we write anything using this? So it will become class 2 equals, we can write class 2 into class 6, right? So it will become class 12. Class 12 means over Z10 it will become class 2. So class 2 can be written as like this. Now neither class 2 is a unit nor class 6 is a unit. That means we can express class 2 as the product of two non-unit elements. So from there what we can write, class 2 is an irreducible element. Okay, so over Z10, class 2 is a prime element but not an irreducible element.